Hello everyone. Welcome back to Living Life Dial Style. How you like my smile today? Hey, they're going to do a video. We're going to put a mini split in our bunkie up here. This is what we're going to use to heat and cool it. It's a heat pump, and it is a Apoo, an Apoo DR 12,000 BTU, 16 and a half SEER. And I basically got this off of eBay. Bought this off of eBay, and I think I paid, like, tax and all, around $700 for it. So not a bad price. I mean, you can't hardly get a window unit for a good one for that price, hardly. What we're going to do is we're going to install it right here on the wall. Now, what I've done is, excuse me, I've got some allergy stuff going on. What I've done here is I've already tentatively marked a spot on the wall to mount my mounting plate. And I kind of did that, beforehand, so you didn't have to sit there and watch us obsess about where we were going to put it. We want to keep it up as high as possible, but yet not too high. And there is a dimension as far as from the ceiling, although I don't have to worry about that because my ceiling right here goes up straight up. It doesn't come straight across, so I can be all the way to the top of this wall and be okay. And then I had one of my other considerations is I had to measure with the bracket on the unit to see how far the unit was going to come once it was put up here, because I have probably a 1x4 trim that's going to go around these windows, so I didn't want that to be in the way of the trim. So you kind of have to look ahead a little bit. Now, I'm not an expert at this. We've done one of these once before, and now this is the second one. The one we did before has just been over a year, so I'm going to have to do some looking in the book and stuff like that. So here we are. Me and Steven's going to screw the plate up right now. Because I here. Good. All right, now go get a level out of the truck. All right, let's see. Let me look and make sure where we're putting. And this is Alan and Michelle, just to let y'all know if you didn't know our names. I was looking at where to put the screws at, but I'm pretty sure this is the spot right here. There's two center screws right here. But we're going to level it off real quick first. Let's see the level. Get your screw ready. What I'm going to do is, Michelle, thank you for that information. What I am going to do is I'm going to drill through the wood first. And then once I break through the wood, I'm going to stop and I'm going to cut the tar paper and the insulation so that I can see through there and make sure that I'm not going to hit anything going all the way through. Shouldn't have anything right at the wood. If it's a wire, usually the wires are going to be on the stud anyway, and my stud's here and here. So we should be good on that. So let's see. Where's that, Steven? I need the drill. I need that 2 5/8 drill bit out of the truck with a drill, with a chuck. We need a chuck drill. All right, let's drill this hole. Now, when you drill the hole for this, they want you to drill it on an angle going down. Can you see that in the camera? And you might need to, zoom in. You don't go straight in. Now, I'm going to go straight in just to start the hole. All right, now that I've got the hole started, I'm going to make sure that I got a feeling we're going to need a different battery. Battery's not very strong. There we go. Okay, there we go. Here, come here. Come here and get the wood out of here while I investigate in the wall. Might want to, why don't you come over here for a second, Michelle? Let me show everybody what's going on here. All right, so I got my felt paper in here. We had to put felt paper in here because this wood is gonna have gaps in it because it's, you know, it was fresh cut, fresh milled wood, and it hadn't been dried out for a super long time. Okay, now what I'm gonna do here is I'm just gonna peel this insulation out of here a little bit and try to basically move it side to side so I can see the outer wall. Okay. All right, and I see the outer wall and I don't see any kind of electrical wires. Shoot it in that hole there. Can you get it in there?
Yeah.
All right, now let me get the drill again and let's drill the other hole out. Again, I'm holding this drill on an angle. If you look at it from the side, I already see it coming out. There it is. All right, folks, look at that. Show that there. Here, get that wood out of there. See that hole? All right, and we got a sleeve right here. They've got a little sleeve here that's going to go in the hole right here. And you cut it off where you need it at, depending on how thick your wall is. And it's just going to be something that the wires go through without having to rub against anything. All right. Now, let's look at the unit over here. Let's pick the unit up and look at the wires. All right, everyone, here's where I'm at right now. I paused the camera for a minute because they had to struggle here. All right, do you see this? You see this part right here? This is the refrigerant lines. You got a high pressure and a low pressure. And this was bent over down here like this. And what you have to do is you have to be gentle with it and bend it up and get it to go in straight out. Because you don't want to kink these lines. These, let's see the lines right here? You don't want to kink those copper lines. You got to be careful with that. So you got to get this up because it's got to go through the hole in the wall over there. Got to go through the hole in the wall right over there. Okay. Now down in here, you see this little piece right here, these two Phillips head screws. That is a little plate that comes off, and you've got to run. They give you this black wire. You see it on the floor here. I'm moving it. They give you this black wire this is your signal wire and your power from the lower unit. Hold on. I'm jerking y'all all around. I was trying to let me get down here to where I can just pick this up. All right, you see this? All right, you see this side, how it's got the little spade connectors on it? And then on the other side, it's got little square connectors. These spade connectors go to the lower unit. So these are the ones that have to come out and go to the lower unit. And I didn't show this because this was a booger. And right down in here, this is one of those little wire clamps that you can get from like Home Depot or Lowe's. And they don't give you this, but you should have one of these because what it does is it clamps down on the wire and holds the wire stiff. All right, let's, Stephen, pick the unit up and let me see the front side of it. I want to show them where the wires go. Pick it up. Yep. Hold it like that. All right, let's open the unit up. Open the unit. Okay, it holds itself up. Okay, right here, look at this. All right, you see the wires in there? And again, look at these little connectors here. Okay, see these right here? These will go, you loosen these screws up right here. You loosen these screws up and they'll go right up under the bottom there. And then you stick them up in there and then you tighten the screw down on it. Okay, and the wiring diagram is on the unit here somewhere. Let me see. Okay, it's right under here. The wiring diagram's right there. Okay, so what I did is right here is I took the wire and I fed it through here, and I just got enough wires that I needed to get to this, okay, to get up in here, okay. And then what I did is then I when I knew where that wire was like that, I then around on the back side, I marked that and I tightened this, turn it around this way. I marked it and then I tightened up this clamp thing, and then you put the 2 Phillips heads back in, okay? Because all of that stuff has got to go, all of that stuff right there has got to come together, and it's got to be fed outside of this hole here, okay? And then once we get it on that hole, what we'll do is we'll hook the unit on the top, and on the bottom there's a plastic tab that when it's clicked on will, oh, look, I'm sitting there talking, I ain't even showing y'all. There's a plastic tab that when you pop it on, it sticks up right here and it holds the unit on the wall. And then in order to get it off, you have to pull down on the outside of the unit to get it up back off. Okay. All right, I'm gonna pause for now, and I'll come back to you in a minute. All right, everybody, we've got the wire, we've got the signal wire is what this is called. We've got it hooked up to the unit. We've got the refrigerant lines pulled out like they need to be, and the drain. Now, Stephen, pick the unit up and bring it over here towards me. I want to show them what they show you in the directions. Let's see, turn it up straight like this. No, like this. Hold it up like that. Okay, guys, this is the signal wire and this is the drain. They're saying to make sure that the drain is on the bottom. You cannot have the drain on top like this. Otherwise, the drain pan in here will leak and leak out into the room. So we're fixing to put it through the wall right now. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna extend this signal wire through first since it's so long. Hold on. Let me get this pipe all the way in here. Hold on. All right, right there. Now we gotta hook it up on top. Let me see it. Let go for a second. Yeah, let go. Okay. All right, I think it's hooked on top. Everything's in place right there. All right, it says to gently. I don't think I'm hooked on this side. Let me see. Yeah, I am. Okay. All right. It says to gently pop in right there. Okay, that's it. All right, the unit is on the wall. Michelle, come over here for a second. Let me show everybody this. All right, these are your signal wires, okay? Now this is what I don't like about these units. When you look at the schematic under here, it shows it's got a 1 on here. See, you got 1, 2, 3, and then you got a little ground signal over here. Can you see that? You got a 1, 2, 3 and a ground signal, okay? It says on 1 is red, so we got a red. 2 is black, we do have a black, but then 3 is yellow, and we don't have a yellow, but it's only other wires left is the white. So the white's gonna go in 3, and then this ground is gonna go in this one here to the ground. Okay, I just wanted to show you that. All right, and what it's saying is after we get everything set up, it's saying to remove the filter and pour a little water into the drain and make sure that it drains out the thing in the back. So that's it for this right now. We'll move outside. Okay, back again. What we had to do was when you buy these, they don't come with a wall bracket or anything. We didn't want to sit it on the ground. We wanted it up off the ground. So we ordered this box of wall brackets off of eBay. You can see that. But all you have to do is eBay or Amazon. Just type in, Just type in mini split wall bracket. That's all you have to do, and you'll come up with it. And I have to put them together. So let's get started with that. I'm telling him to give me a tape quickly. He turns around and he walks fast while I'm looking at him. And then when he can't see me anymore, he slows down. He's a good guy, though. I love him. He really is. Dedicated. He puts up with a lot of his daddy's stuff. Let's see how far apart these things are. Let's see. What I'm measuring is how far apart the. Okay, well, it's like 18 inches or something. You would think it'd be 16 inches because, you know, we've got to mount these wall stud. We've got to mount these on the stud, but we might not be able to. All right, Steve, where's the drill bit? Go get the drill with the chuck on it. And do we have a drill bit somewhere? All right, hold on. I'm going to pause the video right now until we. All right, guys, we got a few of our tools together. I'm going to put this first one on a stud, what I know to be a stud. Okay, right there. Let me get a bolt. Do you still have that bolt, Stephen? Let me have it. Had to get I wanted some kind of a impact or something to do this with. Problems. Can I have the screwdriver? Yes. This thing didn't hold like it was supposed to, like it said it was. It did not hold. So I think what I need to do is, let me cut this thing off some. All right, let's try this and see if this works. Right there, it's going to be out all the way. Okay, hold that for a second. Hold on, don't drop it. Don't have enough. All right, let's put this under it. right there. Okay. Pick up just a little. All right. Ooh. I'm just gonna get the bolt started. Let's see. Hold this.
Do it to the back?
Yeah, we have to do it to the back. Can you get that started? Bolt without a washer. Take the washer off, put the bolt in, and put the washer underneath. All right, let me see if I can find a few more bolts. I dropped one of the nuts. Well, one of the nuts too. Oh, I got an extra one. Okay. They give me a few extra. Guess they knew I was gonna goof it up. All right, here. Tip it up a little bit. Let's put this under the back. All right, what I've done here, or what I'm doing is my little plastic pipe that I put through the wall is a little too long, so I put a pencil mark on it. And now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pull it back out a little bit, and I'm gonna use these red snips or any kind of shit snips, and I'm just gonna trim it. I'm gonna trim it so that when I push it back in, that it goes in. Be careful, don't cut anything. All right. All right. Got that cut. All right, and they give you a little beauty ring that goes over it. And then you take the beauty ring and it slides inside that. But what you need to do is they give you this sealing clay, package of sealing clay. And you need to take some of it and get it out and work it and press it in around the hole so that you don't have anything entering the building. Okay. What I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna smear it. I take it off and I kind of roll it up to where it's kind of long. Then I'm just gonna press it in right next to the pipe. Okay. Got it all. A little piece right there. This I'm doing the outside and the inside. Okay. All right. So now I'm going to take some more. I'm going to press it in and fill in these holes where the piping is coming out. It's also going to keep air from moving through here. Okay. All right, and then you got this little beauty ring that goes on here, and it goes inside of the other pipe. All right. I'll turn it. I've got the daggum. There we go. Okay. All right, now here's where you got to really be careful. We've got to come along here and we got to bend these wires down. The Lord God, be careful with these. All right, now what I'm going to do, and you'll be able to do it as well. All right, now we're up to the point to where we got our connections. So I'm going to take a break right here and gather myself because I'm getting beat to death in the sun. Okay, I'm back right here getting the wiring done. Now what you got on this right here is you've got this cover here, and your wires go through this. You got your signal wire, and then you got your power wire that's going to go through this other one. And one thing you want to make sure you do is put the right wire through here, because when I did the other one, I did it backwards, and then when I went to put the piece on, I just left the piece loose because I didn't want to take all the connections loose. But on this one, I'm gonna make sure I get it right. And then what I'm gonna do is, if you look right here again, I've got a 1, 2, 3 L and N and a ground. The 1, 2, 3 is going to correspond with the 1, 2, 3 inside, which was going to be the red, the black, and the white. And then the ground again is going to go over here. And then the other one, that L and N, L is for line, N is for neutral. My black will go here, white will go here, and then I'm going to connect into this wire that I've got coming out right here. So I'm just giving you a heads up for that right now. I'm not going to tape me actually doing it because it's going to take time. So I'll get back with you. All right, guys, let me show you this right here. What you have on this mini split on the outside of it here is you got a high pressure and a low pressure. I think this is the high and this is the low, because the bigger one's usually the low pressure. You've got a valve here with a cap on it like this. Now what this cap is for, I've already hooked all this up to check it and see. When I unhook, show it up there. When I unhook those lines right there, see, that is charged up there. So when I unhook that, it's going to let what little bit of charge is in that top unit out. And then at that point, I'll hook my lines up to that and then come back down here. And then what I'll do is I'll hook my lines to here. Okay. And what I did before this is I bought this little gauge kit off of eBay. A lot of y'all like Amazon. I know a lot of people like Amazon, but it comes with this adapter here that'll go to this. This valve's got two sides. The low pressure side, it's got a side the Freon line hooks to it, and then this is a service side. This is the side where you test the pressure on the AC, and it's also the side where when you screw this little adapter right here on, there's a Schrader valve up in here, and it matches the Schrader valve. And then there's another Schrader valve, and when you screw this line on, it matches that one. And then what I had to do was test and make sure. I turned my evacuator pump on. Look down there at it. Now this is a pretty expensive one right here, the evacuator pump right here, but you can get them a lot cheaper. This is just one I got from my brother-in-law. He's an air conditioning guy, my father-in-law. So what I'm trying to say is I hooked that up before I take that line loose, and I wanted to make sure I turned the vacuum pump on, and I wanted to make sure that I'm getting a vacuum through here, because the vacuum is what the vacuum does is it boils the moisture out of the lines and the system. You got to vacuum it down for a little bit and get all that boiled out. And plus you can cut it off when you're finished and test for a leak. Although a lot of people test with nitrogen, but I'm not doing that. I've had a pretty good luck with these. If you put these fittings on good, you won't have any problem. And then look at this, Michelle. Inside of here, each one of these has a screw off thing. When I get everything vacuumed down, there is let's try to look up in there. There is an Allen wrench head. You see that right there? Right there. There's an Allen wrench in both of these. Okay, and what you do is you screw those out. And what that does when you screw them out is it lets all the Freon for the whole unit is charged and in this bottom unit. It'll let all this Freon out and circulate throughout the entire system. Then at that point, you're ready to start the system up. So what I did is before I opened my lines, I went ahead and make sure, because when I did the other mini split at my house for my son, I didn't have this fitting on good. And because of that, I wasn't getting a vacuum, but I figured it out before I took it loose, because I was like, something don't seem right. And so what I did is I ended up screwing it on more. And when I did, I started getting a vacuum on the system. You got to vacuum the system down. because if you don't, you're going to have moisture in the system. Today it's very humid out here, and it's just going to be for the longevity of the unit. Now see, this is the part right here where if you wanted to do this yourself, you could do all this yourself and probably even put the lines on and everything. But if you didn't want to go through with releasing the charge and vacuuming down, you could call an AC person at that point to do that, and it would be probably a minimal expense, and just save you some money. But I try to do everything myself, and sometimes it's to my detriment, but most of the times it works out good. So I'm getting ready to hook up the line set now, and we're gonna do that. All right, I'm fixing to take the lines loose here. You hear that? All right, that is letting the lines loose here. We have let that charge out of there now, okay? And they put that charge in there to keep it, to make sure everything stays good and doesn't get a lot of moisture built up. All right, hand me the line set, please, ma'am. This is God's little helper. Every one of y'all needs one of these. All right, she has saved me. Hang on a second. I might need you to hold it for me just until I get it threaded on. They've got little plastic plugs in here, and this is not vacuumed or anything. This is just to keep any kind of dust or any debris from getting in these lines. All right, come on up here closer. All right, hold. Now these tips are just flared copper, the pipe, and you make the junction by tightening these fittings up against it. We're not going to cover anything up on this until we get the system up and running. Let's come down here and get these lines routed to the back of the unit. All right. I want to see how I'm going to do this. Let's see. So I want to, let me see. Okay. Tape what? This? Yeah, what I'm trying to do is I want to try to keep it as least noticeable as possible. Now, let's see. You have to be real careful here. So I think I'm going to run this up under here and come in here to the back. Yeah, because then I won't have to make as hard of a turn. All right, so what you got to do, man, is you got to be careful bending this stuff. You don't want to kink it. Okay. Michelle, can you see what I'm doing right here? Come over here to this side. Come over here to this side. In this line right here. And I'm hooking the big line up to the big side. You can't get this wrong because they won't thread to the other way. Whoops. And I gotta make sure you get it started. There it goes. Okay. Now let's get this one bent over. Take the little thingy out of there. All right, then we're gonna bring this over here and hook this up here. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna tighten these lines down, but I want them good and tight, but as anything, be careful if you're one of those types that like to tighten stuff too much. This is a flare fitting, a compression fitting, and this should hook up pretty dang good without causing any problems. Okay. All right, now I'm gonna tighten them up real quick. Look at here. Let's see. Let me grab these two crescent wrenches. Okay. So again, like I said, be careful here. Don't overdo this. But you do want it tight enough to seal. Once you feel it. I'm doing this just gonna snug it down pretty good right there. Okay, that looks good. All right, let me put this other cap on here so I can use my wrench. to tighten this up, just so I don't want to break anything. That's why I say, because I'm one of those types that does things too tight. You could call me an extremist. Whoops. Okay. Okay, that's pretty dang good right there. All right, now I'm gonna go up here and tighten these down. I didn't tighten those down to start with because I wanted to leave some swivel room in the line to be able to get this straightened out and hooked up. Now this has two nuts. You hold one with the wrench because you don't want to twist these lines. You hold the solid side still, and you only turn on the side that's got the nut on it. Okay. Oh, and by the way, I don't know where you live, but in most states, I'm pretty sure that it is legal. It is legal for a homeowner to do their own HVAC work. Now, if I tried to do this for somebody else, I'd get myself in trouble. Because you have to be a licensed HVAC dealer to do this for somebody else. So I do not do this for anybody else. I only do this for me. Okay, we got everything hooked up. Let's get it evacuating. And while it's evacuating, I'll be tidying some things up. Let's see. Okay. Well, hang on, let me move the wrenches because you know where they'll be? Boing, right on my head. Okay. All right, let's turn the evacuator on. All right, you got to open up the low pressure side, and we're pulling a good vacuum. It's calling me. You had to have a flare tool. I've got one of those. I didn't have one up here with me, but I just decided you got to have a minimum of, I think in the book it says you got to have a minimum of 10 foot of wire, of 10 foot of hose, because if not, it won't operate properly. And I think this is about, this is either 16 or 20 foot of hose. So at 10 foot, I was still going to have a coil down here. So I just said, since I'm already going to have a coil, I'm just going to leave it all because I didn't want to take a chance of these flares not coming out perfect and not having a good seal right here. So that's what I did on that. Okay, I'm gonna go get my my hose, and then I'm gonna they've got some tape they give you to wrap all this stuff up with and make it neat looking. All right, they give you a lot of this line, which was good because the unit I did at my house was on a 2-story. And so we had to come down a 2-story wall, and I still had extra. But that's another thing. I was going to tell you this too. Whenever you order one of these units, you need to determine where your inside unit's going to go and how far the line set is going to have to run before it gets to the lower unit. Because if you don't order the right size line set, when you get ready to do it, your line set's going to be short and you're going to have to get a line set. So just one of the considerations. And this is your minimal line set, I think, that comes with this, but you can get longer line sets. Now, I'm not sure with a longer line set, but you might have to, let's see. Okay, I think I need this other side. I'm gonna cut some of this off. I don't need all of this. If you went with a super long line set, you might have to add a little Freon. All right, this thing right here, it basically squeezes over this, and it's got some little joints that you need to try to get over because they're like little barbs, and they hold it on there real good. Okay. All right, so now, all right, what I want to do is I'm actually going to wrap a little tape around one of these just to keep it from fraying or causing any fray on that other line, just to be safe. Because this can this actually can, these lines could possibly vibrate some. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna wrap this around here. I'm gonna go around like this and try to pull it as tight as I can just to make it have a good, now see, here I am. Okay, check this out. See what I'm doing? This is, I shouldn't be doing this. Do you know why? I should not be doing this yet because I have to make sure that this don't leak. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna stop here for now and just hold off on that. I can't really wrap this all up until we get the Freon in and all that. So I will have to do that. But what I will do, I'll move those before I fire the unit up. I'll sit them down on the bottom. What do you mean? Yeah, when you charge the system and you get it running, as the compressor's running, you will have a pressure on the low pressure gauge, not on the high side. They don't give me a high hookup on this. All they give you really is a low pressure hookup. I mean, this is a pretty simple DIY project. It's semi complicated, but if you've got basic skills, you can get this done. You can accomplish this task. Just don't get in a rush and don't try to hurry it or force it. You know what I'm saying? If it takes more than a day, this is the second day we're out here. Now, we didn't start this until 1 o'clock yesterday, so we didn't have a whole lot of time to spend all day up here. But anyway, like I said, don't try to rush it. Don't get yourself in a rush. Just do what you do and do it as close to right as you possibly can. That would be the best way to do it. All right, I'm gonna pull this line down here and I'm gonna cut this pipe off a little bit. For now, I'm just gonna go ahead and I'm gonna cut it a little long. All right, guys, I have, Michelle, show the gauge right here. When you vacuum down, when you got pressure, it's right here, but this below zero is vacuum. I vacuumed it down for about 20 minutes or 30 minutes and I've turned it off, and I have had no change on the vacuum thing, which means it's sealed up enough to hold a vacuum. Now, when you turn the unit on, the pressure is going to build up and you could possibly get a leak then. But what they're telling you to do is, and can you see this? You put your Allen wrench inside this and you open this a quarter turn and you listen for the Freon to go in, and then for 5 seconds, and then you cut it off and you wait and you check and see if the gauge still holds the way it's supposed to. So let's see. All right, I'm gonna listen for it. Oh. I hear it. Okay. All right. Let's see. Okay, now look at the gauge. We're up around 50 psi on the gauge. Okay, so what we'll do here is we'll wait a second and let's see if we lose any charge. So I'm gonna pause and we'll come back to you. All right, folks, I've checked my gauge and it's maintained its pressure, and I used this leak detector that I bought, and so far no leaks on anything. So now I'm going to go ahead and I only open the valve up and then cut it off. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open the valve back up, and I'm basically going to open it all the way up, and you don't overdo this. When it stops, it stops. You don't force it. Counterclockwise. All the way out. Okay, we're gonna go ahead and put these caps back on because we don't need them off anymore. Okay, now what we're gonna do is we're gonna start the unit up. Stephen, you see the crescent wrench right there, buddy? Can I borrow that for a second? One of them. All right, I'm gonna go power the unit up, and we'll go inside for this. And And then what I will do is I will come back out here and we are going to check for some leaks once the unit gets running. Let's see, let's move all this stuff onto the porch, Stephen. All right, I'm fixing to power the unit up. Everyone, light came on. I heard it beep. Let's look over here. All right, what they're telling me to do is power the unit on. All right, power the unit on, and then I'm going to turn the temp down so I can get it to come on. They want you to run it in cold mode for about 5 minutes. Stephen, how do you turn it on? Is it on?
That's the mode right there. Just press it.
What does that mode
When
do?
you want to switch another mode, turn it off and then turn it back on, then switch it over. Don't switch it over. There
Okay, it's on cool. I got you.
Don't switch it over unless.
No, I know. Oh God, yes.
You have to turn. You have to.
Ooh, I feel it.
You cannot switch it over while one mode's going already.
I feel it. You hear that? That's where that valve is right there. We need to get that off of there. Stephen, go get me the pliers. Hurry up. Oh, jeez, man, hurry up. That's okay. Oh, it's cold. Freezing. Burnt, freezing.
Y'all don't do this.
Hear that? See how it does work. Look. Look. Yeah, I got to get this off because this is what I did here is we ran the air for about 5 minutes or so. See how cold it was? It was very cold. Very, very, very cold. And then I cut the unit off and I turned it on the heat function. And man, it's amazing. It's working great. The heat's coming out. And actually, when I came out here, I still had the heat on. And when you walk by the fan, it's cold air coming off the fan because that's the way the heat pump works. When the heat pump works by, if you got it on the heat function, it takes the cold air from inside and the Freon condenses and everything, and it turns the condenser down here. The heat transfers, the cold transfers to the condenser, and it blows out cold air. And if you're doing the opposite, the air condition on the inside, when you come down here, you'll always feel warm or hot air coming out of here because what it's doing is it's taking the hot air from inside and bringing it, condensing it out of the condenser. The Freon is doing it, and that's how it works. That's just a basic hillbilly method. Don't take too much of what I say to heart. I mean, I know enough to get by. Do is this? I'm gonna basically just wrap this up. I'm gonna wrap all the pipes, get everything wrapped up nice and neat, and then I'm gonna come back later. And like I said, I'm gonna put a decorative cover over that, coming down as far as I can go with it. And then that's gonna be it, guys. Thank you for watching. Everything's turned out pretty good. Maybe you want to try it, maybe you don't. It's just up to you. You determine your level, and you proceed with what you feel comfortable with. Thanks again from Living Life Dial Style. Alan and Michelle, we're out. Love you guys. Peace out.